Hey, hello, my friend. Welcome to episode 400. Unbelievable, isn't it? Yes, this is episode number 400 of the Artist Next Level podcast. And today we're going to talk about the power of art. I'm going to be asking artists, what is the power of art to you? So don't go anywhere. It's going to be really awesome.
Resources, inspiring interviews, business practices, and practical advice to take your art career to the next level. Join Sergio Gomez in today's Artist Next Level and get ready to take control of your career.
My friend, super happy to have you inside the Artist Next Level podcast here. So excited because I'm celebrating 400 episodes. Yes, this is the number 400. And so excited because I started the podcast some 10 years ago, I think 10 years ago or so. And on and off, I do a bunch of episodes and I take a break, do a bunch of episodes, take a break, just so that I don't get tired of it because I need breaks too. So, I'm happy now that it's 400 and so happy and excited that you decided to also listen to this episode, which is going to be a good one. And what makes it also super special is because I'm recording this landmark, this 400 episode in the Cruise for Creatives 2026 aboard Virgin Voyages, which is the cruise line that we use for the Cruise for Creatives. And it's amazing. It's a cruise that's only for adults. So it's everything is geared for adults. There are not children running around, and going crazy, going after the ice cream. No, it's all adults. It's geared for that. And then we have this amazing group of artists that come together and we work in our mindset or wellness or business and we get better while we are away from all the distractions for 1 week. And that's the Cruise for Creatives, which, by the way, at the end of this episode, I'm going to tell you about the Cruise for Creatives for 2027, which is going to be amazing. I want to share that with you. But before we talk about that, I want to talk about the power of art, because I made 400 episodes because I believe in the power of art. I believe that you are an artist probably because you believe in the power of art, right? And I've been thinking about that, what is that power? And why is there power in art? Carrying that to the basic question, what is it? Why do we feel it, right? Why do we feel the presence of art? Why do we feel the absence of art as well? Both things, both scenarios. And I love thinking about it because also as an artist myself, as a curator, the gallery owner, speaker, author, and all the things that I've done with my art career, looking back, it's like, wow, it's all because one day I experienced the power of art. And for me, it happened young, when I was a little kid. And my mom gave me a piece of paper. I decided to remember very clearly. Gave me a piece of paper and a pen every Sunday morning while we were at church to keep me quiet. That's kind of my earliest memories of art. So I would take and I would start drawing right there on the pews in a church in Mexico City. And I would draw. I would draw the person in the front, the preacher. I would draw the choir. I would draw the the person with the wild hair in the back. And these were like stick figures, this is not like real nice, beautiful drawings. They were like stick figures. I was super young. I don't know, no idea, no recollection how old I was, but I know I was very young. And I do remember how my drawings looked like, which were like little stick figures. And but they were quite funny. They were quite fun. And then my aunt, after the service, she will say, "Oh, those are beautiful drawings." And so she would keep them, we give them to her, and then she would go and buy me ice cream like right across the street from the church. And there was a corner, there was an ice cream guy that would come in his little cart, and he would, strategically park right across from the church so that people could go get their ice cream. So my aunt, would give me ice cream. So she was my first art collector, right? So I experienced the power of art since I was very, very young. It was some of my early memories. But then, fast forward many, many years, and of course, went to art school, and believe art was kind of like the thing that it was for me. And I remember clearly one of the first times in which I really experienced the power of the visual image to drive an emotional response from somebody was on somebody else that wasn't me, right? On a stranger is, I remember I was very young in my art career. I had a show, and actually it was a show in a church, now that I remember. And it was one of my early first shows. They invited me to put my artwork on the back of the church. So they put had some walls, and I put my art, and then they give me like a little reception. And I went, and for the opening, so my art is on the wall. Maybe I had about 20 pieces, smaller paintings, different sizes, nothing big, nothing of what I do now. It was again very early in my career. I think I was probably still a student, now that I remember. I was still a student, probably doing my BA or BFA, don't remember. And then when I got there, I was in the middle of the reception, and then at a distance I see a young woman. It's probably in her 20s, if I remember correctly, or maybe, yeah, I would say super early 20s. And she's looking at my painting, and then she starts like sobbing. Not very loudly, but quietly sobbing, right? But I noticed it, and I got closer to her, and then I asked her if everything was okay. And her response really blew me away. So she looked at me and she said, that painting that you have there, which, let me describe for you really quickly. So the painting had, it was a square small painting, maybe about 16 by 20. There were two hands against the surface of the painting, which I outlined pretty much two hands. I think they were my hands on the surface of this abstract background, but colorful, morely dark colors with some highlights of red and yellow, and the outlines of these hands. So she looked at me and she said, this painting reminds me of my father. She says, this is exactly the same position that my hands were against the window last time I saw my dad leaving the family when he went away and he never came back. And she's like, this was exactly the pose that I had when I saw him leaving. So that touched me. And I didn't know what to say after that. I don't even remember what I said. It's so long ago. Some maybe 30 years ago, I don't know. And I saw for the first time, kind of like so clear, wow, that's the power of art. And I just experienced it, right? I just saw it. I just seen it happen in front of my eyes. And that experience changed me as an artist, helped me understood that I wanted to make art that moved people. And, the reality is that not every artwork is going to move somebody. In fact, from everybody that went to that show, she was the only one who responded to that particular painting. Nobody else did, in the same way. Some people like other pieces. This was kind of a smaller piece. So, in that sense, like, wow, a person who encountered a particular work of art with a particular imagery that moved something in her soul, right? That demanded a response, which for her was a physical response of sobbing, tears in her eyes because of a memory that was triggered. So art is powerful. And since then, now in my career, I still try to create artwork that moves people in some way. My art is about the cycles of life, about our spiritual awareness throughout those cycles. And, I've seen many things now in my career, and I'm sure you too, if you've been making art for a long time, about the power of art. And that's why I wanted to kind of like spend this episode number 400 asking some artists who came to the Cruise for Creatives as they're here in the ship, unannounced, about what they think is the power of art. So I'm going to ask them. Each artist is going to introduce himself or herself. They'll say their name, where they're from, and they'll tell me what is the power of art to them. Now, they have no idea what the other person said. So each answer is independent. It's not like I had them all in a circle. It's, this was kind of like random as I found them. And, the result, I think, is a beautiful tapestry of what we feel the power of art is all about. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. I hope it makes you think about, again, what is the power of art. Maybe you haven't thought about it for a while, and maybe it's time to do so, and what an incredible opportunity we have as artists to participate in the power of art. So I hope that moves your studio today.
Hi, I'm Barbara Gerdemann. I'm from Bradenton, Florida, and I believe that the power of art is to make people feel something, whether that is, joy or disdain or confusion or whatever the artist is bringing to it, just to make them think and to make them feel something, in themselves.
I love that. Now, something I want to ask you particularly because you also work with so many artists. You are also in the community, and
Yes.
you kind of work with artists where they have their studios. And when people come in to like open studio day, for example, so you get to see people's reactions, right? Maybe a person who walks in for the first time and they get to experience the power of art. Can you tell a little bit about, what is it like for you when you see people who come for the first time and they're like, oh my God, I gotta bring my friends, or like, how does it feel for you to know that you are being part of something that is helping others to feel that power?
Sometimes it's overwhelming.
Okay.
It's generally exciting. When people come into the space and they see all the different work, one of our famous taglines is "There's something for everyone," right?
Okay,
Because
good.
there
Yeah.
literally is, right? We offer everything. We have photography, we have fiber arts, we have paintings, realistic, abstract, everything kind of in between. So everybody has their own experience when they come into the space, and you can see how they respond to different things as they're walking through. And some things they really resonate with them, and they'll linger, they'll spend longer. If the artist is there, they'll talk to the artist. Other things, they just kind of smile and nod, like they appreciate it, but they don't really connect with it. But you can definitely see the variety of people that come into the space by the way that they react to the different things that they're seeing.
Yeah. And I think that's where we get to kind of expand that power of art to other people who perhaps haven't
Totally.
experienced it.
Yes.
They come in and one day they're like, oh, that speaks to me,
Uh-huh.
in a new way.
Yep.
Yeah, that is exciting. And also, you've been with us here for the second year in the
Yes.
Cruise for Creative. So super excited to have you back again.
Thank you.
When
It's been great to be
when
back.
did you come back? From the first time to the second?
There's so many reasons that I wanted to come back.
Besides the good food
Yeah.
and that meal that came with you, your husband.
Yes. I got to bring my husband this time. That was fun. I think that I wanted to come back because the first experience made such an impression on me, and I felt so motivated by it. I felt very inspired by all of the things that I learned, by the people that I met and talked to, and to see what everybody else was doing and how they were, conducting their own art businesses. The first time that I came was with my business partner, Elizabeth.
Yeah.
And so our reason for coming together was kind of twofold. It was to come, for business purposes, but also for, us as individual artists.
Yeah.
This time was really more for me to come as an individual artist, because we've made some interesting steps since we came to the first one for ourselves individually as artists. So just trying to reinforce some of that and to figure some things out for myself moving forward, that I would like to do. So it was very beneficial in that
Very
way.
cool. And spending time with your husband.
Absolutely.
And for me, with my wife. and
Yes,
Cheryl,
yes. And
kind of
everybody,
fun. It's a
seeing
win-win.
people we saw from last cruise, meeting new people, and then spending the time with Neil. We were able to spend some great time together, doing some shore excursions, having him get to meet everyone
Yeah,
that I
that
talk
was fun,
about
too.
frequently. He can put faces to the names and all of that. So yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Barbara.
You're welcome. My
Thank you.
pleasure. Thank you.
My name is Shirley Williams, and I'm from Windsor, Ontario, Canada. And to me, art is a very mysterious thing. As long as human beings have been on this planet, we've always striven, I don't know what the word is, but to create and appreciate art, from cave people all the way to today. And the funny thing about art is that the same work of art will mean something completely different to every single person. And I believe that that's because the artist puts their energy into the work, whatever it is. Some people will respond to that frequency and others will not. And so a powerful painting, if I don't know. I don't know how quite to explain it, but if it's a person who responds to that painting, there is energy in it that they're responding to. The very same image as a print will not give them the same energy or the same feeling. It'll be flat.
Do you remember in your case as an artist or as an individual, like one of the first times that a painting or a work of art like really spoke to you, like where you actually felt it as a receiver of that power?
Absolutely. I mean, this may sound cheesy, but
No,
when
I
I
love to
was
hear.
16, I went to the Louvre and saw the Mona Lisa for the first time. And that was before people had to stand in line and see it
Oh,
behind
wow.
glass.
Okay.
This was in the days when you could actually be 3 inches from it and really look at it
Without the alarm going.
without the alarm. And I remember standing in front of it, and it was so moving. And I can now understand why it's such a famous painting, because there is literally vibrations coming off that painting that if you're able to actually interact with the painting will just astound you. And I remember at that moment, I thought, if I could ever create something like that
Yeah.
that affected even one individual on the planet, it would be something to me that would be the greatest thing that I've ever achieved.
Yeah.
And that's where I realized how the power of an artwork can really change a person's life.
Yeah.
Because it was the moment that I said, I want to be an artist.
Wow, that is pretty cool story. I love that. I love that. And now we've been here together also in the Cruise for Creatives for a whole week. So how was your experience?
It was great. I think the best thing was meeting everybody and getting to know everybody and making new friends.
That's right.
And it was just a wonderful experience. And I really, it was very memorable.
It's good to think like the power of art, as much as it's in the object, it's also in the individuals who make it happen.
Yeah, and I think not only does the painting of a painting affect a person who's looking at it,
Yeah.
but when you put, at least in my own case, when I'm painting, I'm throwing all of my energy into it. And when it's done, sometimes it's a very strange feeling. I'll stand back and I'll look at a painting and I'll say, how did that even happen? I couldn't make it again. Like it came out of somewhere.
Somebody, yeah.
And it isn't something that I consciously created. I didn't say, I'm going to put energy into that painting. It just came out and it's there. And when somebody experiences it, it's like a two-way communication.
Right.
In a way that it's got no words.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Shirley.
My pleasure.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Francine Sweet. I am based out of Fort Lauderdale, Florida. The power of art for me is all encompassing. It is emotional, it is visual. The emotional is more important to me. I write and I am a photographer and I am an ardent lover of paintings, even though I haven't tried to do that yet. So for me, the power of art is dragging the emotions from people, experiencing the work through their eyes.
Yeah, I love that. How do you feel now as you're working with all these bunch of creatives here at the Cruise for Creatives, where we are recording this episode? And also, like, for example, working with Scott, who is an artist and trying to working with your story, put that into visual form through the book that you published. Tell me about the process. What do you enjoy about working with artists that might be a bit different, let's say, from working with other people?
So I've written 18 children's books, and I found Scott through the Society of Children's Book Writers and Illustrators.
Yeah.
And I went through every single portfolio and fell in love with his work. So he was in Ohio and I was in Florida. We hadn't actually met until last year's Cruise for Creatives face to face.
Yeah. Oh,
That
I
was the
remember now. Yeah,
first
that's
time we
right.
saw each other. But we've worked together for going on 5 years now. So for me, bringing my words visually into art form, it's a beautiful process. I think I've driven him crazy a little bit because I wanted my characters to look like people in my life. So
Yeah.
he really had to grow because he liked drawing animals and I wanted people. So we
Yeah.
did that. And now, we're on to books 2 and 3 and 4. And so it's been a gradual process, but surrounding myself with creatives for me has been my whole life. I went to Southampton College in Long Island where all of the upcoming poets and artists were back in 78, 79. So I've always surrounded myself with artists. I've definitely got an old artist soul. So this for me is a passion project. The Cruise for Creatives is a very important project.
And you also led for us a workshop on vision boards and on journaling. Which,
yes.
That's a whole art in itself.
I'm a wellness coach.
Yeah.
And I believe in incorporating art. So the vision boards visually bring your thoughts and your goals to life so that you can keep looking at. The journaling, you can write, you can draw, we do stickers, whatever format you want, but putting your ideas on paper so that maybe you don't have a chance right now to paint the thing that's in the back of your mind, but if you make notes, you can come back to it.
Exactly. No, so true. And now we're gonna come back again next year for Cruise of Creators version 3.0, 2027. Tell us a little bit about the Cruise for Creators for the next year.
So next year we're going to some different ports. We're going to Costa Maya, Mexico. We are going to Belize City, Belize, Roatan, Honduras, Cozumel, Mexico, and of course the beautiful beach club at Bimini. We will be on actually this ship again, the Resilient Lady. And Virgin is extremely welcoming to artists.
Right. I love that.
They are
really creative,
art forward, creative forward, accepting of all people. I love them for this project.
I mean, every restaurant that you go to, every meal is like a work of
art.
art. Yeah, it's absolutely amazing. And what I love about the cruise is that there are no kids. So, nobody's like
running
has like little kids running around, wrapping ice cream on the floor. It's very clean, it's beautiful, it's amazing. Great opportunity also for artists to come, to get together, to network with each other, to grow, to learn, and to, have an amazing time. That when the last day of the cruise, everybody's like, "Oh, is it over?" We cannot be
and
going home now.
That this is our second year. A lot of people are like, "Oh, you're the art cruise lady." Like they recognize us when we're on board all together, in either in our matching shirts or because we're traveling in a pack and we're having these little get-togethers in the bars to talk and process and work on our craft.
Super. So we expect to see a lot more people next year, and we invite our friends. We look forward to seeing you again next time.
Thank you. Yes, invite all your friends, all your artist friends, because they're not going to want to miss this one for sure.
Absolutely.
My name is Dr. Kevin Bethel. I am an artist physician based in Freeport, Grand Bahama, Bahamas. And the power for art for me is the ability of it to connect with people emotionally, and it's also has the power for transformation and community building. I think that's another area that we haven't really explored recently in modern art, but the power for it to be a community-based activity.
Yeah. Do you feel, because you are as a physician, your background on that as well, you are able to even kind of like have a different angle on the power of art because of that also, like you say, what it does for us physically, mentally, and
you find value, emotional value, and it art does have the ability to heal. It's not just for the person creating the art, but also the people that get to interact with the artwork. It does have the power to heal. When you see a painting or a piece of art and it connects with you on an emotional level, it's intimate, so it's something that you just can take with you, for the rest of your life. And that's why I love going to museums and stuff.
Right. Do you feel like science is slowly catching up to that idea of the power of art? We have seen like recent books coming about, talking about that and what art does for our minds, for our soul, and all those things. Do you feel like science is kind of like finally listening and catching up into what's happening?
Yes, I think it is. I see it even in the medical conferences that I attend. There's a lot more talk on the power of art, for as a healing modality.
Yeah. And one more question for you, because I think you're doing something quite also interesting with your work you as an artist, and like the portraits of some of the people that have passed away. I think there's such power on the likeness of somebody who has has left us, right?
It's a celebration of someone's life. So doing a funeral portrait or portrait of someone as a memorial is something that I can do. That's a unique thing that I can do for my clients and family. And I really enjoy doing that, and it blends with what I do as a physician, because so much of what I do as a physician is trying to fight against disease, illness, and death. And I develop relationships with people in ways that no one else in the family. So there's certain things that I will see or want to express, and it's a way for me to cope with losing a friend, family member, client.
Yeah. Perfect. Well, thank you. And of course, we're recording this at the Cruise for Creatives, and now this is your second one. You already signed up for the third
one. Yeah.
Now you are also one of our presenters too. So, anything that you want to share about the Cruise for Creatives?
Oh, I think it's a wonderful thing to do, is travel and devote time to focus on developing not only your own personal art, but your career goals as an artist. And that's a big thing. And also we're visiting other artists in other communities as we travel with the cruise. So we're getting, other inputs.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
My name's Keith Davidson. I'm from Massachusetts, South Egremont, small town. The power art for me is, I find it extremely cathartic. I get lost in my head. I tend to drift towards the negative. I get obsessive about most everything. And I find that to be debilitating. So when I'm in the studio, I'm not thinking about any of that stuff. I'm absolutely free, and it's a tremendous release.
So you feel like the power of art is kind of what helps you like tune out, like let's say the outside world, and to focus into what you're working on?
It focuses me and it makes me stable.
Oh, okay. So on a personal level, it helps you like stay stable.
Yeah, because my brain's going a mile a minute about, I'm into next week before I finish the day. And I'm thinking about projects. I'm thinking about stuff that may or may not go wrong on the next project.
Yeah. So it helps you almost like the opposite, like slow down and like make sense of what you're working on right now.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Really cool. Have you always felt that about art, or is something that kind of has more grown into it?
No, it's actually developed over the years for me. I don't think I was as neurotic as I become, I think, about stuff, I put more importance into my responsibilities, and I think that's what's generated all that obsessive thinking. So
very good.
I think the art has become more important.
Excellent. Well, thank you. And have you enjoyed the Cruise for Creatives?
Loved it
This year?
Yeah, I loved all your input and wisdom, and it's been...
That's great. This is your second time. Second
trip. Signed up for a third.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
All right. Thanks.
My name is Mary Davidson, and I'm based in Massachusetts, South Egremont, which is the southwest corner. And the power of art for me is more, as a person in my life, I'm very, I've always been a planner. I've always been sort of this feeling like I have to be in control. So the power of art for me is that I feel like I'm channeling. I feel like it's very intuitive. I feel like it's a gift. I feel like it has come through me. I don't really feel like I know what the outcome's going to be. And then it seems like it also has a very powerful, once it gets out into the world, it also, like I have a group of paintings where everyone always says to me, these paintings make me so happy.
Okay.
So art can be extremely powerful, and it can share a lot of love, a lot of happiness. It's community, also. So it's a very powerful medium, and I feel like, I don't think I chose art. I think it came to me. I feel like it's always been this gravity pull,
Yeah.
and I finally answered the call.
It's very cool. So you feel like that as you are in the studio in process, you're managing, like working with that powerful entity, right? That we call art.
Yes.
Very cool.
Very much.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Mary.
Thank
And
you.
I hope you enjoy the cruise as well.
Oh my God, I love the cruise. I love you guys. I love the experience.
Yeah.
I think any artist that can come should.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much. Thank you for sharing.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Richard Hershberger from Central Illinois and the farming country, and it's very busy right now with the planting of crops and so on. But I've had a good time enjoying art for many, many years with my mother and father, but art is important to me. It's a communicator. We communicate with each other in a lot of ways with art, whether we're trying to communicate how we're feeling or understand how somebody else is feeling. Art, it encourages the heart, and that can also express the heart, whatever we're artists feeling. I find it compelling. I wish I could express everything that's in my heart through art. And I try to, but it's a valuable tool for us.
I love it. And so you feel that the power of art really comes from that experience that we have with it as creators, as artists. And I know you are both a painter and also a photographer. So how do you see the power of art also influencing both your photography and your paintings?
Well, yeah. In photography, I started learning with Ansel Adams in doing black and white photography. So it was a form of tonalism, I guess. We learned to figure out how we differentiate things with different tones, and so it helps me to see how colors can also influence how we understand things, how we see things. It's mind-boggling to know, when did we learn that shadows mean less light, or how we see things in depth because of the darkness and the lightness, or because of the colors that we see. So photography and art are very intertwined, and so but in art, we can choose what we put on that canvas. We can put on there whatever we can imagine in our hearts. What we can't see, we can also put on canvas. That's the beauty of painting.
Awesome. And Richard, so you came to the cruise with your wife, and it was really fun to have you guys both. What's one of the highlights for you as being part of the Cruise for Creatives?
Oh, that was so much fun. My wife and I, we had a good time doing that, and just meeting other people that are artists. And invariably, there were other couples that, like us, that one person was an artist and one is as they call it, an advocate. And that was valuable to know how we can encourage each other in those various ways. So we were all artists now of different types.
That was pretty good. That's pretty fun. And yeah, it's really fun to see also artists coming with their partners and husbands or wives or friends, and just kind of like hanging around with us and being part of that. It was really exciting. So often as artists, we get together just as artists, but being able to bring our loved ones, so it's kind of fun. Excellent. All right. Well, thank you so much, Rich. Thank you for this chat, and we'll see you later.
Hi, I'm Dr. Yanina Gomez, and I am located in South Florida. I think that art can not only change and influence an environment, right? When we're talking about the power of art, and it can influence it in many ways. It can be in a positive way. It can be in a challenging way. It can be in a more reflective way, but also has the power of influence our emotions, our behaviors, the way we feel when we walk into a room where art is, the way the art speaks to us and how it lands in our hearts, so how it lands in our spirit and in our minds. So it not only has that ability of influence how we feel, but also influences how not only ourselves, but also the space, the environment where we are. So it does have that dual ability to touch your heart, but also change the environment that you are in.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. And I love it because you are a psychologist and you work also with a lot of artists as well. So now for you in the person at the personal level, have you experienced like works that you see it and like has touched you in some way or has made you think? And how would you describe that emotion?
Yeah, definitely, for sure. There are works that speak to me immediately, whether at an emotional level or intellectual level, or even memories, right? I see artwork and it reminds me of when our children were younger, or when I was younger, or when I had a trip, or they also remind me of a relationship, right? But also at the same time, it can set the mood. For example, I cannot just walk into a house or a place where all the walls are empty. Immediately, it feels like something is missing here. When I don't see art in the wall, art has that energy that the artist is bringing to the work. And the work, whatever it goes, somehow that energy remains in that body of work or that piece of art. So when you go to a house where there's no art, or you go to an office where there's no art, it feels like something is missing. Like something needs to add, or someone is supposed to be here that it isn't, right? So there is that lack of energy that only us as humans can bring.
I love that because I think you and we had a conversation the other day of an experience that you went to a place and,
Yes.
and I remember that when I went to pick you up, and I pick you up because for our friends who might not know, we are a couple, we are married. So I pick you up from this place and you're like, the first thing that you said when you came back, you're like, oh, I was so surprised that the walls were empty. There was nothing in the walls,
Yeah.
right?
And it felt odd.
Right. It felt like you said, like something is missing. Like there's a part of our human experience where we get to experience art, color, form, shapes, lines. That is not there. It's absent.
Right. It's missing. That energy is missing. I mean, and I see that, like, if I were to be in a doctor's office or whatever kind of office, and you see all like, cheap prints that you can get
Right.
in stores, versus,
And they're all yellow.
and they're
now.
like, right, and versus like artwork that has been done by a human being, a human person.
Mm-hmm.
So it brings a different type of it plays with your senses differently.
Right.
When it's just a cheapo print, it doesn't, it might look pretty, but it just doesn't speak the same way as if it's made by the human being. It doesn't have that energy that I was referring to before. It's just
Right.
pretty.
Right.
But it doesn't starts or encourages me to engage with it, just to
Right.
look at it and move on. But when it's something that is made by the person that a human has made that, then you start wondering, what is what is it that the artist was thinking about? Why did they choose those colors? Why did they choose to create that or create that shape, form, or whatever image it is? So there is that inner dialogue that happens when it is created by an actual human versus just, factory print kind of thing.
That's awesome. And what's pretty cool is that we're doing this recording now as we are in the Cruise for Creatives 2026, and super excited because we already kind of set the dates for 2027.
Yes.
We are excited. You're
Super
excited.
excited.
I'm super excited too. What a great experience. It's going to be amazing, beautiful. One quick takeaway that you may have from 2026 that you personally you really enjoy about the cruise, besides the amazing food and the amazing scenery.
Yeah.
I would, personally, what's one of the things that you personally enjoy?
Yeah, I really enjoy, because we offer mindset and emotional wellness sessions in the cruise, in addition to marketing and sales and everything else. So I really enjoy the fact that making space for artists to pause in the middle of the ocean, to experience that their inner landscape, and the responses were extremely positive. Artists really appreciated taking the time to go within and identifying, for example, mind traps that have been paralyzing them, identifying those areas that have been slowing them down that they need to address, right? Because if awareness leads to taking action and changing things and replacing them. So just seeing and experiencing the responses of the artists of how important it is to address your mindset and emotional wellness as you work in your art career, that really was a plus. Highlight
that's
for me.
awesome. I love that.
Yeah.
And something that we're super excited is that also as we go into 2027, which the dates are March 13 to the 21st of 2027, we're focusing on more as a residency program and also kind of like a retreat, right? So kind of like making the best of both into one experience. So we're calling it the residency experience at sea.
I love it.
And it's going to be so exciting. And we're going to see many of our friends there as well. So thank you, Dr. Yanina Gomez, for sharing.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Well, my friends, I'm back. What do you think about the power of art that was shared today? I thought that was moving. The answers were amazing, incredible. It's so wonderful, once I get to put this episode together to be able to hear all the answers at once. I think it's going to be a really beautiful way to celebrate 400 episodes. And finally, to wrap up, I want to say that, the Cruise for Creatives 2027 is already in the calendar. You have to come. It runs from March 13 to the 21st of 2027. 1 full week will be in the Cruise for Creatives, which is the very first art residency experience at sea. In other words, we are actually giving more of a residency experience from now on. And think of it of a residency / also a kind of like time away from all the distractions, like also a wellness retreat. We combine it all together to give you this amazing experience in which you're going to have time to really think about ideas, think about your wellness, your mindset with Dr. Yanina Gomez. I will help you with your art business, all aspects of your art business, your studio practice as well. And then Dr. Kevin Bethel, he's going to help us with our physical health as well, and giving us some great pointers and ideas for that, among other things. So it's going to be really awesome. The whole goal of the 2027 Cruise for Creatives Art Residency Experience at Sea is to help you find and discover what's your next big thing. I find in my own art career and also working with so many artists for the last 15 years that sometimes our greatest breakthroughs happen when we step away. When we step away from the studio, when we step away from things, when we allow our mind, ourselves to really think, to really focus on ideas, focus on the future, to focus on things that matter to us. And that's exactly what the cruise will do. We will guide you through the different sessions to think about what is your next big thing. So when you come back to your studio after being away for a whole week, you come back with a renewed energy, with a renewed strength, with a renewed vision, with renewed excitement for your art career, so that you're like, man, I feel like I'm going to be unstoppable for the next 6 months. That's the whole goal, that you use the residency program to discover your next big step. And that could be something that your next big step for your next series in your studio. Or for some of you, maybe like your next big thing in your art business, because you are going to do some radical changes. Or maybe for you, maybe something like finally we're going to take serious your physical health, right? That's going to be your big thing so that you can make the art that you want to create, right? So that giving space for us to discover what is our next big thing. And as a residency program at sea, we'll have also some time to make some art as much as possible. You're at sea, you don't have studio, you don't have easels and things, but you'll bring your sketchbooks. We'll have sketch sessions. In the excursions that we do when we go to land, you can bring your sketchbook. I did This year I did some really beautiful sketches as well, so I'm super excited about that. And yeah, right. So we'll work on those things to make it an awesome time. And then, you know, at the end of the residency at sea, you will present what is your next big thing, what is your big idea for, you know, for your next 6 months as a result of what you experienced during that week. So you'll have an opportunity to share and present, you know, what is your action point that you're gonna do when you go back. So it's not just, hey, let's have some fun in a vacation in a cruise. Now, of course, you can do that. You maybe we have artists who come like, you know, they're exhausted, like, I need a break, and that is fine. You can do that, but at the same time, use that break also to think. You know, if it's just one thing that you can do when you come back that, you know, could radically change your art career, it will be amazing. So that's what it's all about. Hope you join us. All you gotta do to learn more and to book your cabin is go to cruiseforcreatives.com. Again, cruiseforcreatives.com. Just go there. You have all the information. You can book your cabin, or you can call Francine, who is our amazing cruise agent who is on top of things. She goes with us. She goes in all our excursions. She helps us with anything we need. She's totally amazing. And in fact, the Cruise for Creatives idea came because it started in her mind, right? And she approached us inside our next level to say, hey, let's do something. And so this is her baby as well as our baby. And, you know, it's so cool. So she will help you out, you know, booking the best cabin that's for you, exactly what you need, whatever questions you may have about it. She will answer anything that you want to know. And the sooner you book your cabin, the less you pay. The more you wait, the more you pay, okay? And not only that, but also you book early on, you'll get more perks, and you'll also get also opportunities to do a payment plan if you want. So whatever works for you, my friend. Just go to cruiseforcreatives.com. We hope to see you in 2027. And my friend, again, one more time, thank you for listening to the Artist Next Level podcast. If you have not subscribed to the podcast, what are you waiting for? Click on the subscribe button. Be nice. Subscribe to it. Listen to our episodes. Do me a big favor. Share this episode with your friends. I know many of you guys have listened to the podcast for a long time and you have never left a review in Apple Podcasts. If you can do that, that would be amazing. That would be my 400 episode gift. If you can give me that gift, give me a review. That would be awesome. That will help, you know, more artists find this podcast. So thank you so much, my friend. We'll see you at the next level.
Check out our website at www.theartistnextlevel.com, where you will find our podcast library, learn about our upcoming webinars, find resources relevant to your career, and much more. Thanks for listening to today's podcast, and we'll see you at the next level.